The Funko Company has a mascot, and his name is Freddy. And what's unique about Freddy compared to all of the other items that the Funko Company actually makes is the fact that Freddy likes to dress up as other characters. And he likes to dress up as some pretty popular ones from some IPs that you guys have probably heard of and probably collect. We've seen him dress up as Batman from DC Comics, as well as Spider-Man from Marvel, and even Boba Fett from Star Wars, just to name a few. And what's also unique about the character of Freddy is that typically Funko produces him in far less quantities compared to all of the other items that they usually make. And that right there is very attractive to collectors, especially such as myself, because when it comes to collecting and hunting down rare items, that just adds so much more excitement. And this year here in 2023, this was actually a really big year for the character of Freddy, as Funko returned back to its roots just a little bit and actually gave us some Freddys that were very limited for this past year's San Diego Comic-Con, especially at the Camp Fun Days event, which was held in San Diego, California. We saw some Freddy Funko Pops that were extremely limited, like the 850-piece Wolverine, even the 250-piece Blue Beetle, and we even got a 100-piece glow-in-the-dark Hopper from Stranger Things. Now, I know all of you guys are about to blow me up in the comments saying that some of these items weren't as limited as the stickers would suggest, and yes, I am very aware and familiar with everything that happened with some of the Freddys that were unfortunately misstickered. We are not here to talk about any of those items. We're here to talk about how even with more Freddys coming onto the market, specifically with the San Diego Comic-Con events, and we are getting a lot more Freddys thanks to the NFT drops that typically happen 1 to 2 times a month, some of the older Freddys have seen some significant rise in values. So we're going to take a look at those Freddys today and see how much just some of these very limited Freddys are going up. So the first one that we're going to be talking about today is a character that is very relevant right now in pop culture, specifically within the Star Wars community, and it's mainly thanks to the Ahsoka series that recently wrapped up its finale over on Disney+. And the Freddy that I want to talk about first is the 600-piece regular Freddy Funko as Anakin. Now, there was also a very limited 250-piece holographic counterpart, with that one being so limited. That one is just naturally always going to demand a very high price tag, but this 600-piece one is also very unique and interesting for several reasons. Currently, it's trending for $730. However, when it first hit the market, it was only going for around $550. It crept up to that $800 mark, but now it's actually going for a little bit more, and that's very unique and really interesting to see for a Freddy that's only been on the market for a few months. It's sold for as high as over $1,000, and like I mentioned, thanks to the Ahsoka series, we could see this one continue to climb to even higher heights when it comes to its value, and that's very interesting considering there are 600 pieces. This isn't a super limited one, but this is definitely one that's out of reach for your average collector. And the next Freddy that I want to talk about is also, interestingly enough, from the Star Wars universe, and this one actually is very unique to our channel, especially if you guys watched Monday's video. And this one, of course, is the Freddy Funko as Stormtrooper. Now, unlike Anakin, this one you could have pulled in the take-home Camp Fun Days box that everybody had a shot at thanks to the drop on Funko's website. This one was not as limited as Anakin by any means, but still pretty limited in today's Funko market, coming in at 2,000 pieces. Now, when this one hit the market, it was going for around $270 to $280. It came down by about $100 and sort of leveled off around the $160 to $175 range. However, now it's gone back up to $240 thanks to a few sales over that $300 threshold. What's interestingly about this one is the fact that you could see some collectors use this one as somewhat of an army builder. Whenever it comes to troopers, especially from Star Wars, people like to get multiples of them for their collection. So somebody out there could be army building a nice little collection of Freddy Stormtroopers, but in the meantime, this one is going up, and I'm curious to see if Funko will give us a Freddy Funko Clone Trooper counterpart in the near future. And at this point in the video, some of you guys are probably scratching your head and wondering why I'm even here telling you this information, because the two pops that I just mentioned, as is the case with most Freddys, is these are very limited pieces. Of course they're going to go up in value significantly over time because a lot of people want them and there's just not that many on the market. So let's talk about a Freddy that is not limited in terms of number, reflected on a sticker on the front of the box. This one is very interesting. So this one right here is one of 3 Freddy Funko rides that Funko has made to date, and this is the blue Freddy's ride that came out back in 2016. And this one has been going up quite a bit as of late, and I think it's because they just haven't made that many Freddy Funko in a vehicle. And this is actually the only one of the 3 that is not limited in terms of a piece count. So this one came out back in 2016, like I mentioned, and it came out for $29.99. You could have picked it up on the website if you happened to be sitting there that day that it dropped. It did not sell out. When this first hit the market, it was only going for a little over retail, and in 2021 it actually dipped below its retail value, sitting at about $20 to $25. Well, today it's currently trending for $85, and there's been several sales of this one in particular for over $100. With these larger pops, they just get damaged more frequently and easily in the mail, of course, so finding a mint one here in 2023 might be challenging, not impossible, but this is a great example of a non-limited number Freddy that is going up in value. So now let's get back to talking about limited piece Freddys, and the next one that I want to talk about is coming from 2017 San Diego Comic-Con in the form of Freddy Funko as Superman. Now this year was a big year for Superman as they released 4 different Freddy Funko as Superman pops. They gave us the Man of Steel version as well as the Kingdom Come version. They even gave us the Red Sun Superman version, and they gave us the extremely limited Holy Grail 24-piece White Lantern Superman, which I would love to own someday, but I'm not going to shell out what's equivalent to a car in the form of money for that pop. So we're going to hone in and talk about the Freddy Funko as the Man of Steel Superman, because of the 3 525-piece Superman Freddys, this one is the one that has been going up in value the most. And what's interestingly about this one is this one came out in 2017, but we didn't see a giant rise in value until the beginning of last year in 2022. So this thing sat on the market for 5 years before collectors really started to take notice and go after this one. It was around that $250 to $280 mark before it just skyrocketed pretty much out of nowhere to the $600 to $700 price mark. It's currently trending for $670 today. However, there's been a few sales in the upper 800s and even lower 900s for some really mint condition ones. With Superman being such an iconic character and arguably one of the most well-known superheroes worldwide in all of history, basically, I'm curious to see how much this one is going to rise in value over the next few years. So now switching gears from DC to talking about Stranger Things, let's talk about one that I know is going to be on a lot of people's minds, especially with the final season of Stranger Things coming up in the next year or so. And the one that I want to hone in on is the Freddy Funko as Upside Down Will. This was one of the original 4 Stranger Things Freddys that Funko actually debuted with in San Diego Comic-Con 2018. This one was actually more limited than the Superman we were just talking about, coming in at 450 pieces. And just like the Freddy Funko as Superman that we just mentioned, this one was also on the market for quite some time before collectors finally started to notice and grab this for their collections, as we didn't see a massive spike in price until about the middle of 2022. This one was sitting around, once again, $250 to $300 before it just shot up to about $800, and today it's trending for $780 in value. Stranger Things has been incredibly popular over the last few years, and on top of that, Funko has also added many more Stranger Things Freddys to its lineup thanks to an NFT release, and they also gave us one this year for Camp Fun Days. I'll be curious to see how high this one goes in value, especially with this one being the only version of Will. Upside Down Will in itself is a very iconic character from the franchise, and with the final season on the horizon, I don't think it's crazy at all if this one ends up being over $1,000 in value coming up here in 2024. And once again, a lot of you guys are probably saying to yourself, well, of course, some of these Freddys are going up because they're tied to very popular characters and very iconic IPs. Well, let's talk about a Freddy that is neither tied to a popular character nor a popular IP or franchise license that Funko has. So let's talk about this one from Emerald City Comic Con 2019. This is about as basic as it gets when it comes to a Freddy Funko Pop. Here we have Freddy holding a fish. Yes, we have Freddy holding a fish, and not only did we get this one, we actually got two versions of this one, and the only thing different between the two is the color of his pants. The brown pants Freddy Funko holding the fish here is actually limited to 1,000 pieces and has been going up a little bit as of late, which I think is really cool to see for a non-licensed or non-familiar character Freddy. This one is currently trending for $145, and it is even sold for upwards of almost $200, and I'll be curious to see how high this one gets with the aforementioned fact that he is not tied to any popular character nor tied to any popular IP. I think he is simply valuable because people like him and the fact that he's limited to 1,000 pieces. So guys, as we get down to the bottom of the list and the last few Freddys that I'm going to be talking about for today, I want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you like Freddy, and do you have any Freddy Funko Pops, sodas, or wacky wobblers, or any form of Funko collectibles in your collection? The next one we're going to be talking about is another super unique Freddy that I think most people don't even know about. This is a non-licensed, non-character Freddy yet again, and it's coming in from 2018. And just like the Upside Down Will, this one is also limited to 450 pieces. This is Freddy Funko as the alien with the ray gun, and this one is just a prime example of the creativity and the amazing detail that Funko can capture into one figure. And you actually have to take this Freddy out of box to fully appreciate all the details, specifically with the antenna on his head on the outside of the crown. Now this one, I also think the colors are really cool and it helps stand out amongst a lot of other Freddys that have been produced over the years. Now this one has seen a bit of a price spike as of late. It was going for around $350 to $400 for a majority of 2022 coming into 2023. However, today it's now gone up to $490 in value, and it really wasn't valuable at all throughout its life going to the middle of 2021. So this thing was on the market for about 3.5 years before anybody really noticed that this one was cool, limited, or had any sort of, attraction to any collector. This one is also sold for well over $500, so I will expect to see the Pop Price Guide value continue to go up on this one. And I think this one is just a fun one that a lot of people would love to have in their collection, but it's definitely starting to get out of reach for, I would say, a majority of collectors. And the last Freddy Funko that I'm going to be talking about for today's video is a Halloween-themed Freddy, which I thought would be perfect, especially because we have the Series 2 of Freddy Halloween NFTs on the way, which a lot of people are about to get, and I am so freaking excited to add those to my collection. And I thought this one would be perfect because 2019 was a scary moment for some of us Freddy collectors. And not only was the last year that they released 24-piece Freddys and those super limited Freddy piece counts, but it also marked the beginning of a little bit of a Freddy drought that we got for a few years. Obviously, we are no longer in that drought as Funko has produced a lot of Freddys, which has made me as a collector very happy. And the one that I'm going to be talking about right now for the final one for today's video is Freddy Funko as Frankenstein from the Universal Monsters line, and this one was limited to 350 pieces. There was also a 24-piece glow counterpart, as well as some of the 350-piece versions also had an error glow version. There's very few of those. They're very difficult to find, but I actually have the regular 350-piece version, and I think it looks fantastic on its own. This one is currently valued at $790. However, this one has sold for well over 1,000 over the past few years, and I definitely expect to see this one continue to creep up in value just because Frankenstein is such an iconic Halloween Halloween character. They also made a Freddy Funko as Frankenstein with the cell phone, which is a great alternative to any collector looking to add a version of this Freddy to their collection without breaking the bank. That one goes for about $25 to $30, so very reasonably priced. It was a Funko Shop exclusive, and I highly encourage you guys to go pick it up for your Halloween collections. But guys, that's gonna do it for all of my picks for all of the Freddy Funkos that are currently rising in value. I'm also gonna prompt this question to you all, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Would you guys like to see a female counterpart to Freddy Funko? I think it is a massively untapped market where Funko could make a female character that dresses up as all of the other iconic female characters throughout all these great licenses, franchises, and IPs, and it would just open up the door to so many other possibilities. We recently got Proto the dog as Freddy's counterpart, which I think was a fantastic choice of Funko to do, and overall, I really think it's time that we get a female version of Freddy. Hopefully in the next few years, it's something that Funko is looking to do. I love collecting Freddys. I hope you guys enjoy him too, and I'll be curious to see just how high some more of these get in the next few years. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Let me know all your Freddy Funko thoughts down in the comment section below. And as always, don't stop shooting until you score.